first call, the recognition.
So recognitions, we, because of COVID in the past, what we've been able to do is bring all these students in, but because of COVID, we had to do things a little bit differently this year. And our information coordinator, Kristen Waits, has put together a video that we would like to show you all to share with you right now.
Nope.
I have no idea.
1 second.
There we go. Sorry about that. Maryland County Schools, congratulations on the award that you're being recognized for. It is obviously the result of a great deal of hard work, and we couldn't be more proud of your efforts. So again, congratulations, and thank you for all of your efforts.
I just wanna let you know I'm proud. 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 I just wanna let you I just wanna let you know I'm proud. 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 I just wanna let you know I'm proud.
So again, congratulations to all of our students. As you can see, it was over a 6-minute video of their accomplishments this year, and we couldn't be more proud of them. So congratulations to everyone.
We want to say congratulations as well as the board too for the fabulous job that they have done. Any public comments? No. New business, inpatient residential care.
The first item is a linkage agreement for inpatient slash residential psychiatric care to children and adolescents ages 5 to 21 with J1 LLC and Franklin County Schools is attached for your review and approval. After consulting with our board attorney, there is no legal basis to refuse to enter into the linkage agreement. In the event a facility is open, Section 13.6B of 902 KAR 2320 will require a detailed written plan addressing qualifications of staff, access to records, and financial agreement between the facility and the district. So again, this is the first initial step in a partnership is this linkage agreement. So the recommended motion is to approve the linkage agreement with J1 LLC as presented.
Is there a motion for the superintendent's approval?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? And second. Any discussion?
This is Natalie. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just generally, I think this is a really good idea. When we were looking at the drug testing issue 5 years ago, I think it was, what I was hearing from the local pediatricians was that it really doesn't help to test and punish children if you don't have any place for them to go for help. So if this is just a first step to possibly getting our kids in Franklin County the help they need, I think it's a good first step.
And board members, we have Russ Salzman here to answer any questions that you may have. Just a couple of pieces of clarification. This residential facility would actually be open to representation from across the Commonwealth. So it would not be just for Franklin County School students. That's correct.
Would you like me to give you just a brief paragraph about it? Yes, it will be open to patients, kids in this region. It will be the third of 3 that our group is building or has built. This is a facility that was licensed by the state just a few years ago. It's fairly new, brand new in Kentucky. Kids that are in outpatient psychiatric care, therapists, those sorts of med therapists that are getting their care from home. Sometimes they get into a crisis situation, or they're not getting the results that the doctors would like to see them get. And outpatient care, once a week, an hour a week is just not going to get it for them. What they do is, and this is, as I said, it's a new concept, particularly in Kentucky, they have a facility like ours where a kid can come in maybe for a few days, maybe for 2 months, depends on the situation, and live in the facility. It's intensive care every day. Have their meds examined, go to therapy, and try to get them back on track. And then they go home. So it's not a place to live, but it's a comfortable, safe place for these kids to spend the time that they need, so they don't have to worry about other things. One of the difficulties is before these facilities dedicated to kids were licensed in Kentucky, all Kentucky beds for kids were, in a facility that would share with adults, which is okay. It's fine. I mean, you can segregate it, you can do those sorts of things. But they realized it would be a real benefit to have something that is all kids, all about kids, and all of the other stresses are gone so that they can focus on themselves. So the cabinet licensed this facility and spoke with Dr. Wasim Sajid, who was my boss and the managing partner of J1, about building one of these. So he built one in Benton, Kentucky, in Marshall County. Opened it in 2017, and it's been full ever since. One of the sad truths about this type of care in Kentucky is kids often have to go out of state for this care because there's just not enough beds. So you'll have a kid is 12 years old, and both parents work, and suddenly he's got to go to Tennessee, or the worst case I heard, a kid that was placed in Texas for this kind of care for a while, and there's just such a hardship on the family. So the cabinet asked us to consider building them across the state. So we answered that with a facility that we'll be building in Bardstown and the one that we're building here. Now, the average size of our other two facilities is 24 beds. We want to build this one 48 because it's a much bigger population center. And we also added we also put it on 8 acres in case there's an expansion or something like that in the future. We're just leaving all those options open. And we may go farther east with another one. We'll just have to see how that goes. But this one will be our flagship. So what we're asking from the board is a partnership. As Mark said, I think the SEEK money covers the teachers. We will build out the classrooms and make them the way you want them, the way the teachers need them. And that'll be their area, your area for them. So you all are the ones, obviously you all have to be teaching experts. We're experts in something else, but we need to work together, and that's why I'm here today.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
How was it funded?
It's private. It's funded, the physicians are funding it themselves to build it. And then, insurance and Medicaid and that sort of thing that they pay. It's private, so.
So who pays? The parents, if say a child is admitted, their
Insurance.
private insurance pays?
Insurance or Medicaid.
So how much is required from Franklin County Schools? How much money is required? None?
No, we won't ask anybody for opinion.
And what if a student cannot pay? Then what happens?
That's a good question. Are you aware of Dr. Sajid on that? He's trying to get in. He would know. I don't honestly know the answer to that.
If the parents are low income, under $1,350 a month, then they would be Medicaid accessible. Now, what I found in a lot of these cases, and with Public Care Review Board, is a lot of these parents don't realize that they've just got to go ask for
What they're eligible for.
They're eligible for. And they just won't go fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
And we used to have the same situation with free and reduced lunch.
Right.
Don't fill it out, the kid eats free, but we had the same situation several years ago.
I worked for the state for a long time. I retired before I started doing this. And the same thing with the K-CHIP. kids that, receive that insurance. People don't. I mean, they work and they do the best they can, and it's not something to think about it. They just don't ask the question. I can get that answer for you.
Really, because it's important. I mean, not everybody qualifies for Medicaid, and yet there are a lot of students that.
Need this help. Yeah, we're happy to try to meet that need. It's, I can tell you the facility in Benton was full as soon as they were ready to fill it up. They started slowly because they had new staff and all that sort of thing. Well, we've been doing it for a few years now, but when they started slowly, they put a few beds in, they put a few kids in there, and they got a few more. As soon as they got up to full speed, it's been full ever since. And that's the sad truth of it, which is why we think these others are needed and why the cabinet's working with us to try to do it.
I think it's a good thing.
Well, and I wanted to say that we're honored to be asked to provide the educational services, and it's because of the hard work of a lot of really strong, talented people in our district. We provide educational services at the Fayette County Regional Detention Center. Adam Nance has done just an amazing job there. Kyle Sexton with the work that he's done through his department. Dr. Jim Masters, all of our alternative settings. So we're honored to be asked.
So we're honored to partner with you and really an opportunity. I mean, it's just a perfect situation for us. I do want to mention one thing. I think this is the reason but I do want to mention, we will bring about 70 jobs to the community, medical jobs, $25, $40 an hour. We'll have 2 physicians on staff, a psychiatrist and a medical doctor to adjust medicines and do those sorts of things. So it'll be fully staffed.
The question I have is, when it comes to the relationship for the student that is in the school of Franklin County, how will they correlate together between the facilities as well as the teacher of that student?
The school is in Franklin County?
Yes, Franklin County.
I'll be honest, I don't know how that happens. I apologize for not having that answer. I could find out and let you know.
I could probably address it from an educational perspective. The facility will have teacher staff from Franklin County Schools, and I would think that if it would be one of our students, that those teachers on staff would work closely with the students, teachers that were here in the school system, seeing where they were and making sure that from a pacing perspective, we're teaching what the child needs.
But I feel like there is a need, because there's a lot of students that have some special desperate needs in our community. So I just want to say thank you so much.
We appreciate you all so much, and we're honored to work with you, and we look forward to the future.
Yes, thank you so much, okay? You hear the superintendent's recommendation.
Can I ask one more question before we do? When will this start? When will you begin building?
We would like to turn dirt this summer. As I said, we have land on contract. We have this to get. We have a certificate need from the cabinet in Scott County from a year or 2 ago, and that just hasn't worked out in terms of sites and finding a good site to build. So we started looking around. We moved it here. This is for the process of relocating the COA that we were already awarded in one county next door. That shouldn't take long. It's up to the county. And after that, we go to we close out our financing package. It's about a $10 million project.
But you already have the license to build here, right?
We have the license in Scott County. We have the
Yeah.
certificate need in Scott County. We're just literally moving it here, and that's what you all are helping us do. We have to, get these agreements again, move it over. They will hopefully award us a CON for Franklin County. We'll go through our financing package and get our design all together, and that sort of thing. And we would welcome your input on classroom design and things like that. There's some things in the cabinet that are prescribed as to, I think it's 12 kids per classroom or something like that. But we would be thrilled to work with you all on that. If we could start turning dirt this summer, maybe a year and a half, something like that. It's a big building, and it's a big project to build. So we think to be safe, maybe a year and a half, we would be open.
So you will contract, with other doctors Or they, will we solely employ?
They'll be employed by us.
Okay.
The chair stands corrected. We already had a motion and second, so we'll proceed to vote. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item is a supplemental school year.
On March 24th, Governor Beshear signed into law Senate Bill 128, which creates the supplemental school year program. The legislation allows any K through 12 student enrolled during the 2020-2021 school year to use the 2021-2022 school year as a supplemental year to retake or supplement courses the student has already taken. Students had until May 1st to submit a request to the Board of Education, and then the board has until June 1st to decide whether to accept all requests or no requests. Parents submitted their interest through a survey and/or by contacting their child's school directly. Survey response numbers are attached for your review, just so you know. I think the total today, Rebecca, was 223, is that accurate? So 223 students had at least expressed some level of interest in this. The board does retain the ability to create policies to avoid punitive measures against students, and I can talk about that after you have the motion. The recommended motion that I'm going to make is to approve the supplemental year option for the 2021-2022 school year.
You heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
The motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Now discussion.
It says here there are 195 students there. So I'm assuming that even if there are 250, we can still, is there a cutoff date?
No, the cutoff date was May the 1st, and so that number of 195, actually, that was what we put out on Friday. But because we left the survey up until May 1st on Saturday, so it did shoot up a little bit. So we ended at 223. The thing I would say about that is those are students and families who have expressed initial interest. We, after whatever action you all take or don't take tonight, because again, you have until June 1st to decide. If you decide tonight, that is fine, we can move forward. If you want to push it back to the next board meeting, you can do that as well. We are going to have a special call meeting later in this month. Having said that, we will be having individual conversations, and some of those have already been taking place with principals calling students, calling families, talking to them about what this means. And we have put out a frequently asked questions document on our website, all of our social media, that goes through some of the questions. What I would say about this is, and we kind of talked briefly about it at a previous meeting, is I really think that the intent of this piece of legislation was to help kids. And when we received the KDE guidance document, I, along with many other administrators and superintendents across the state, were frankly a little bit disappointed that KDE would create such an 11 to 12 page guidance document off of a 2-page piece of legislation that had some punitive measures towards school districts, talking about graduation rate, the ability to earn credits, and some of those things, how KDE interpreted that. Having said that, if this can help students, I think it's my responsibility as a superintendent to bring it to you and say, this is in at least in many of these students' best interest to do that. And we will find a way to make it work. And we do have the ability, like we stated in that sentence in the rationale, we retain the ability to create policies that can help us avoid some of those punitive measures. That's listed in the KDE guidance document. So what we can do is examine the policies that we have, and there is some flexibility there that we can create to make sure that we're doing the right thing by our students. Having said that, I've got Dr. Jim Masters on the call here. We've got Charla on the call. We'd be more than glad to answer any questions that you all have about this.
Well, is it possible to go out into the community and do forums, public forums to get the word out?
It is absolutely possible, sure.
Has that thought been entertained or anything like that?
We've been, we've been trying to get as much information out as we can about this through all social media and one calls and all of those things. With COVID, you know, we may have to do some of those things a little bit more virtually in some regards, but more than willing to do that. And that can happen even if the action that you take tonight, if you do approve this motion and we move forward, that's something that, you know, we can continue to educate our students. And the ones who have signed up for this, what we've talked with our principals about is making sure that every single person and parent is contacted, and we have a discussion about what are the positives and the minuses, the pluses and the minuses to this. And that's kind of laid out in this document as well.
Is this paid for by the CARES? Are we gonna use CARES money, or how are we gonna?
It is not funded through CARES at all. It's basically what it would mean is if some of these students stick around for an extra year, let's say that they were graduated seniors, we would still receive funding for those students next year. So it is a potential, if you think about it in that regard, you know, as a district, we could increase our enrollment for a year while they do this supplemental year potentially. But we would not receive additional funds on top of what we would normally get for students.
I think it's a good thing.
Any other discussion? What would happen, of course, I know KDE is looking at possibility of kind of lowering, looking at graduation rate. I look at that and it looks like, I think about 90 students in the high schools, both high schools, that are looking at this program here. Will that hurt us?
Yeah, in terms of the graduation rate, there's no question that it will. And that's just something that we're going to have to understand and be able to rationalize and deal with. The way the federal government analyzes and creates that graduation rate cohort formula is, if you're a student and it takes you 1 day longer than 4 years to complete your high school graduation, that federal formula considers you a dropout, even though that isn't the case. So that formula, when it will take that into account, that let's say you're a sophomore this year and you want to come back because you want to do a supplemental school year. Well, the way the federal rate is that kid can have a fantastic supplemental year next year and then take 2 more years after that to graduate. And the federal government will say, well, that kid took 5 years to graduate, he's a dropout, and that's how, you know, it will count against us.
But it won't reflect on his record.
Not on his,
But
no.
it reflects on our.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
want to make sure, you know, that it don't reflect on that student that is right.
No.
Well, I cannot imagine we're the only district in the state that's gonna have this issue.
171 districts are dealing with that. So again, I think we just have to be able to rationalize it and say, this is the best thing that we can do for kids. And
One thing I have a question, and maybe I read it wrong. For example, if Mary or Johnny makes a D in a science class in high school, they go take some similar class, but that Steve D will still stay on. Is that correct, or has that changed?
there's kind of 2 different tracks. So if you're, and Jim and Charlotte, feel free to jump in here. But for a student who graduates, however they, you know, if they graduate here in 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it is, they want to take a supplemental year next year. Well, we as a district can still put the grades, the new grades for those classes on the transcript. However, those grades cannot count into the GPA for the graduate, you know, the student who graduated. However, if you're a 9th or 10th grader, and let's say that you struggled with Algebra 1 and you got a D, and you come back as a supplemental year student and get a B, the B will be the grade that goes in the transcript. But what you also have to understand about that from KDE's guidance is you know, the student, even though they actually technically passed those 2 classes were the same, and so they're not going to count them as 2 separate math credits. They'll just count them, you know, they'll only be able to get that core class credit for the one. Dr. Masters or Charlotte, any additions to any of that?
No, you're absolutely correct. So seniors that have officially graduated from Franklin County Schools, if they come back from sophomore year, they could take courses, but it would not count as part of their overall GPA. But as Mr. Kopp said, if you had a 9, 10, or 11th grader that returned and they had a D or an F in Algebra 1, they would retake that course. If they received a B, then we would simply go with the B for Algebra 1 on their transcript and would count as part of their overall GPA.
Does anybody on virtual, any board members on virtual wants to speak?
I support us going forward with this.
Any other board members? Do y'all want to vote? Do y'all want to vote now?
Why put it off?
Okay. Let's go ahead and proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the supplemental year option for 20 and 21, 21, 22, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
It passes.
I want to thank you for your courageous vote there. I think this is something that a lot of school districts are struggling with, but it ultimately, this is a student-centered decision, so thank you.
The next is HES donation.
White, Greer, and Maggard Orthodontics is interested in donating or car rider tags, those are, and also reusable folders and T-shirts for students at Hearn Elementary for this upcoming school year. Hearn Elementary is requesting permission to accept this generous donation. Donations valued over $1,000 do require board approval. The recommended motion is to approve the donation to Hearn Elementary School as presented.
We hear the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a
I
second? And second. Any discussion?
What, now explain to me exactly, is this just a T-shirt or something that, but it'll have that doctor's name on it, it's kind of an advertising thing, but
It's folders and the little car tags and the T-shirt, and I'm not sure what the design is, but I'm sure that there will be advertising as it is a donation. But I don't think Ms. Cooper is on this call, but she was very excited to.
Aren't these doctors, orthodontists, aren't they out of Lexington? I'm pretty sure, because that Dr. White, I think he was at UK, and they've got, unless they've got an office here, but.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the superintendent's recommendation, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none, it's carried 100%. All right, next is naming of the Elkhorn Middle School.
And Elkhorn Middle School would like to request approval to name the theater after Mr. Damon Green. They want to name the theater the Damon Green Theater. In addition, they are planning a small dedication on May 20th for students and staff. The recommended motion is to approve naming the Elkhorn Middle School Theater the Damon Green Theater.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion?
Motion.
The motion is
Make
made.
that.
And is there a second?
Second,
And second, any discussion?
what an honorable thing for him. He would love that. He would have loved it.
I know of many, many students that he turned their path and headed them in a direction. One is a dear friend of mine, and he gave him in a good path and changed his course of his life, so.
Except a lot of people.
I never saw him without a smile on his face, ever.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, it carries 100%. Thank you. April 19 minutes.
The April 19, 2021 meeting minutes are attached for your review and approval. Ms. Natalie Lau was absent from this meeting and must abstain from voting. The recommended motion is to approve the April 19, 2021 minutes.
All in favor of approval of the April 19th minutes, let me know by saying aye. Aye. I'm sorry, stand corrected. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So is there a second?
Second.
And second. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's continue to vote. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Second, Nada, you can vote. All opposed, seeing none, it carries. Reports from the board, superintendent, personnel.
Personnel actions taken since the last meeting of the board are presented for your information only.
Reports from the council.
Draft minutes from school site-based decision-making councils are presented for your review.
Instructional services update.
Ms. Six.
Good evening, everyone. I am excited about all the celebrations taking place in our schools this week as we celebrate Teachers Appreciation Week. And we've had a lot of community partners making sure our teachers feel treated and spoiled. And so if you see the teachers this week, make sure you thank them and extend how appreciative we are for everything they've done for our kids this year. Unfortunately, the state testing window opens during Teachers Appreciation Week on Friday. So the state assessment will take place in the last 14 days of school. And although we were not pleased with the U.S. Department of Ed's decision to move forward with testing, the positive and the silver lining is that the tests are smaller, the times are reduced, and all the students are taking them online. We've also made a good faith effort to include our virtual students to see if they want to come into the school to report for testing. And so we offered that opportunity to our kids coming up. Summer school announcements. We are deep in the middle of planning for that. Right now, we have 547 kids on the transportation roster. We're almost 10% of our enrollment for summer learning. We still are waiting to hear from 5 schools, and we know that other schools are also adding more kids. We've got some great programming, summer camp formats, credit recovery, and some days that are just designed for kids to come together, take historical field trips, perhaps work on those college admission essays and writing, because that's one area at the high school level we feel like maybe took a hit this year as we weren't face-to-face. So summer school plans are up and running. FCS Virtual Learning Academy, Dr. Jim Masters has been working on this plan to create timelines and develop protocols for next year's Virtual Learning Academy. And last Friday, we released the application. We originally have about 184 students or families who've expressed an interest, and 35 of those students have completed the application to participate. So our next steps will include a review of the applications, a cross-check of their current virtual participation and progress, and then we're going to set up interviews so that we can interview the students and their families to see if they'd be good candidates. Once we know the number of students we'll be accepting, we'll move forward on the hiring of teachers. And those jobs were posted this week because you approved those at the last board meeting. At the next, excuse me, I have to cough. At the next board meeting, you will be seeing a contract with Edmentum for the learning platform. And it will be approximately $38,000, and all the students in all of our alternative learning options in Franklin County will have access to that platform. We were impressed with this program because of the CTC offerings available for virtual students, And Mr. Sanders at CTC has stated he will work with students who need to come into the CTC for a portion of their career tech requirements. So we're just trying to work with individual students and design what they need. And as we think about our enrollment, we want to take this opportunity to invite our community homeschool families to consider the Franklin County Schools Virtual Learning Academy as a viable option for them. And they can contact Dr. Jim Masters or myself to find out more. Our website, Jim has updated that, and so they can also peruse the website for information. On the consent agenda, I believe, and Mr. Kopp, I wanted to mention this. Mr. Kopp, I spoke to him. We've done a lot of planning. We've got a great team assembled to discuss ESSERS II funding, which 85% of it is spent on learning loss. And so Dr. Jason Glass in the Kentucky Commissioner's Update last week sent a message in writing about how this is the time to do things we don't normally have money to do. And so Mark and I were talking about the literacy aides that used to work in Franklin County and contribute to our literacy program. And so we met with some of the key players who would need to be involved in the training. We've met with elementary principals, and on the consent agenda tonight, you'll find presented the opportunity to create 28 instructional assistant positions, 4 per school, and they will be paid for through ESSER II and 3 funds. And we will train them to assist with daily guided reading groups and balanced literacy instruction. The creation and hiring of these positions will allow us to quickly recover literacy loss caused by the pandemic. Selection and training of these individuals is key to our progress, and we plan to model this effort similar to the literacy programming in place before 2009, when our approach was recognized across the state as an effective literacy model. So at this time, I will mute my mic and see if you have any questions about anything I've presented tonight.
I have one. I would really like to see our 6th graders, all the 6th grade class in both, the middle schools, go over to the CTC building to be able to go through. I think if we can get them in, there's a lot of kids that see these programs. I'm very proud of my daughter. She's, went through the nursing academy over there and done that. And she's just got hard on as over her labor delivery starting 2 weeks. And I've just seen so many kids that's come through some of those programs that's excelled and done real well. Lindsay, but she went through the welding, was, #1 welder in the state, come in 3rd in the nation. So that's one of the things that I like to see these kids be able to go over, get an interest. There's so many things over there they have to offer, and that way they can get their career path, to have it. They don't want to wait, for so many of our students are waiting until they're seniors or juniors, or actually their 1st or 2nd year of college before they actually set a career path.
Others? Charlotte, I appreciate your excellent work, and your report was unbelievable. So thank you so much. We're excited as well on what's going to happen in our district. And we all wish our teachers a wonderful Teachers Week. And one of our board members over there said he'd be glad to buy you anything you want. Perkins. But we appreciate everything you've all done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Superintendent's report.
I also want to say thank you to Charlotte and her team. They're just doing an amazing job every single day, so thank you. Talking about CARES Act funding, I can just kind of reiterate what Charlotte said when she mentioned the possibility of reinstituting the literacy aids I thought it was a fantastic idea. We're going to have funding to do that for the next 2 years, and we're going to assess their productivity and see how we're doing. And if it's something that's working, we're going to try to find a way to make it continue.
I do know that we had a former superintendent that, well, let's just say she annihilated the literacy program, and we are paying a deep price for that now. All the teachers will tell you it is a marked difference. Our kids aren't reading on the levels that they should be, and once we reinstitute this, it will be, you might not see it the first year, but you'll see it on down the road.
Well,
And I know it may really,
I am,
yeah,
I'm so excited about
it's
this.
wonderful.
And, you know, if it does as well as everyone has talked about, and I think that it will, then we're going to find a way to make it happen.
It's amazing.
That's awesome. So we're very excited with having these federal dollars so that it allows us to do some of these things. And what Dr. Glass, the commissioner, said was spot on. This is the time for us to do things that we haven't had the ability to do money-wise. And let's get back to what's important. We have to get our kids reading by the end of grade 3, period, end of sentence. There is no greater predictor of success than their literacy at the end of grade 3. And so I'm very excited about that. A couple of other announcements. Want to reiterate something Charlotte said. I sent out in a tweet this morning, Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. Our teachers have done more this year and have had to do more this year than any other year in their career. And God bless them. They have just done an amazing job. And frankly, I think it's shown a light on Franklin County Schools teachers that so many of our teachers have had to help other districts and their teaching staff in this transition over to digital literacy and digital learning. So it's been wonderful. And you know, we're trying to do some things at the district level to show our appreciation for our teachers. There's a you know, we've got a coffee truck that's going around to all of our schools to provide a coffee for all of our staff members. And it's a small thing, but it's, you know, I'm so appreciative of the work that they've been doing. We have a couple of announcements in terms of new positions. We've hired a new director of human resources, Jennifer Perkins. The principal at Collins Lane Elementary will be stepping into that role that Holly Atkins is retiring from. Humongous shoes to fill, frankly. Holly is, I've said it a million times, she's a rock star, and she's the best in the state at what she does. And so Jennifer's got some big shoes to fill there. With that being said, now the Collins Lane principal position is open. We will be meeting with that council next Monday, a week from today, to begin the process of filling that position. Western Hills High School, Mr. Greg Roush has announced his retirement and has done a tremendous job in our school district for many, many years. And Western Hills is, you know, that's going to be a very difficult hole to fill as well. We've already met with the council there and have started that principal selection process. We are in the, we've completed the survey, and now we're in the stage of starting to review some of the applications that have come in. We'll be meeting with that council tomorrow. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Mark, I want to ask one question, maybe you can give us details on it. I know Belinda several months ago asked about getting our, you know, looking at the students that was potentially ready to fail, and that was about 25%. What's that looking at now that it's May, we're down into the last few weeks of school? Has that number dropped?
It has. It has, and I can't give you a specific number today, but I can bring a number back for you. We've been meeting with our schools, and each of our schools' teams have been working with each individual student. The work at Franklin County High School, for instance, they've been identifying, and they were the school with the highest percentage of failures at that time. And they've been working with those students, and it's, to be honest with you, one of the things that's been the most helpful, frankly, is just getting the kids back in person. Right. And so I'll be able to, at the special call meeting, I'll give you updated numbers on that. I can tell you with no question whatsoever that it has reduced across the district.
Well, I mean, I know last year they passed a lot of students that shouldn't have passed, and it was just there was no way to, so they gave the benefit of the doubt. And I've had some folks, was concerned about that. So I was hoping we didn't, follow in that guideline this time, but.
Well, and the things that this board has approved and put in place have been really impressive in terms of, trying to help. First of all, what Charlotte talked about earlier, the summer school program. Right now, as she mentioned, we're a little under 600 students that have, expressed interest. We really need to see that number continue to rise over the next few weeks, and we think that it will. There are still some schools that we have not heard from. That's going to be very powerful. And offering different alternative paths and our virtual academy and some of those pieces. So I think we're doing the right things, and we're providing some opportunities for those students, and I'm excited about where we're going to go with that.
Thank you.
Next item is our consent agenda. Is there anything anybody want to discuss before we vote on the consent agenda?
I just want to ask, are y'all still having a retirement dinner for staff?
Yeah, so Ms. Atkins and I are going to be meeting about that tomorrow. So as soon as we finalize our plans, I'll shoot you an email and text. We have to find a way to make that happen. We're just trying to find because you can't do buffet, and that's normally, so we're just trying to work out some of those logistics.
Now, I go to buffets all the time. All over the state, that's where I travel when they're doing buffets. Now they wear gloves when they go to the buffet.
Yeah, and I think, as long as we have someone serve the food as opposed to serving ourselves and those, so again, those are just some logistics, but yes, the hope is that we are going to reinstitute that because we missed it last year, Jericho.
All right, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Give it to
Nay.
She was loud.
There's no discussion, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
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 All opposed, the vote carried 100%. Is there a motion that we adjourn?
Mr. Co-Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn.
The motion has been made, is there a second? I will second it. All in favor, say aye.
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 No opposed.
See y'all next time.